entire city council is here and appropriate staff as well. We appreciate anyone else trying to here observing. For the work session, we're going to turn time right over to Gary to cover some issues. All right, thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Mayor. A couple of items we want to check in with you on. The first is the RJ regular concert, which is scheduled for not too long from now. We have Richard Watson here, and I'll have maybe Richard. Don't make you stand yet, unless they have any questions. But let me set the stage a little bit for you, council. We're planning to have two shows on the 18th of December, one at 4 and one at 7:30. All the arrangements are made with vendors, with Dick's, for example, to buy tickets. We won't be doing online sales this year, and we're kind of ready to go, but we want to do one last check-in based on what's happening with COVID-19 and the governor's executive order is one thing. We weren't even anticipating that when we put this on the agenda. One of the items that we're a little concerned about is the fact that the high school, it's going to be Woods Cross High School, they
Sorry.
For schools. I asked, her name's Marcy at the school district. I asked her about that and I said, did that include auditoriums? And she said, no, as far as auditoriums are going, we're still good for now.
Okay.
So, but yeah, she doesn't, because it's not her call to close down the auditorium. It's the board and the district itself, so.
Okay.
So there is some risk with that. We don't control that. Of course, we don't control either what the health department would say in the county or what the governor may say. Under the current executive order, we can hold the event, even if they were to go back and do that again come December 18th. If it were exactly the same as it is today, we could do it. It's considered a hosted event. Which means that the social gathering restrictions don't apply, but we are liable for making sure that everyone wears a mask, that social distancing is maintained and things like that. So, you know, Richard and I had a conversation again today about what our feelings are about it and if we had a recommendation for you. And we don't really have a recommendation one way or another. About whether to do it or not. I think we're both concerned about the optics. We're both concerned about the optics of holding it and then having it canceled, and if that would frustrate people. We're concerned about not doing it as well. And so we don't have a contract yet with the Bar-J. They've said they're intending to do that, but they tend to be a little forgetful, I guess. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Although I just noticed on Facebook, they posted a show in Evanston a week before, so
So they're still
yeah.
performing. At any rate, I think what we kind of want to do is just check in and see if you have any different direction for us other than to move ahead.
One thing I wanted we talked earlier when we were talking
Yeah.
about you had found out that we had this mandate to put a control on the COVID-19 virus because they predict that after Thanksgiving, it's going to spike again.
Mhm.
So we got to think about that too. There's always that future spike.
Sorry that I don't know the answer to these already, but is that the entire funding source for concerts in the park?
What's that? Sorry.
Or the Bar J Wranglers our entire funding source for the concerts in the park?
Largely.
Largely,
Um,
right?
And
Yeah.
what does that concert bring in, if I can ask that?
I think it nets.
It depends on the year, about $17,000 or $18,000 sometimes.
Okay.
We have to pay the contract fee, which is around $7,500, and there's some other fees that go along with the contract and the high school. And so forth.
So do we net 10?
We probably net 8.
So that's going to change anyway, because, well, the school district gives us the building itself
Mhm.
for no charge. We have to pay for the janitor though. But seeing how we can only have 500 per show,
Mhm.
that's going to cut into our revenue. So,
I'd be really comfortable just, I don't want to remove an event from people's lives that need an event, but I'd be really comfortable recommending that we just provide that funding to the concerts in the park in lieu of holding the concert.
Richard, could I ask, would you move that from RAP tax, or where would,
It's already done.
it's already budgeted?
What will happen is
We just won't realize some of the revenue, but it's because it's budgeted in the general fund, it's already budgeted. So it would just come essentially from general fund sources. It would be a year where we just wouldn't recognize some of the revenue that we normally get.
and I'd like to mention too, this past year, we didn't aggressively or usually go after the vendors and sponsors that we normally do. So we lost some of that money, but we intend to go after sponsors next year. So they're a big part of our concerts in the park anyway. So we want to bring in sponsors again.
Mayor, may I make a comment?
Sure.
You know, we need to get out of our houses. And I
Yes.
know for seniors like myself, I love to go to the Bar J Wranglers. I think we should have it. Let's go ahead. If they pull a cork at the last minute, they pull a cork. But I think we need to go ahead and have it.
I mean, that's what they're doing. If they can shut down University of Utah's football game 2 days before it's going to be played, there's no reason why we can't still plan something. And if we can't do it, we can't do it. We either don't do it or we plan to do it later. But there's a great deal of sociality and anticipation for that. That's what I recommend.
If we did have to cancel it, would we put something in place to do ticket refunds, or would they be non-refundable tickets?
As far as the tickets, as Gary said, we're not selling them online this year. We're just going to do hard tickets and sell them at the city office and Dick's Bountiful. And those would be the only 2 places. So we could probably have them get reimbursed by just bringing the ticket back to the city office.
And could we write into the contract with the Bar J Wranglers that if the show has to be canceled, we don't owe them their fee?
Yes, he's aware of that.
Okay.
When I talked to him last week, and I'm surprised he hasn't sent me the contract yet. But he did mention that we both had an understanding that we could be canceled. So
You know, I'm torn because I think it's really important, this concert. And we went to our son's band concert a couple weeks ago at Woods Cross Auditorium, and it was so nice to be there. And we all wore masks and we all the seating was such so that you sat with your immediate family, but then there was space on either side of the families. And so it was, I think we tried to be smart. And it was so nice to be there and see an event for, you know, because it's been a long time since we've done something like that. But on the other hand, I was talking to a friend last night that's a doctor that got home at 10 at night and told me about how their clinic is just bulging at the, you know, and there are just more cases than ever. And so it's just worrisome, like if there are things that we can do, it's a real problem right here in Bountiful that we're facing with this. And so I'm really torn. I think it's a tricky thing.
So if we go ahead with this, since you've been to a concert at Woods Cross, we might have your input on how to do the social distancing, because I'm kind of lost at that right now.
I think those logistics would be tricky. Yeah.
One added thing is that just today, we had our board meeting with the Davis County Health Department. The statistics are pretty obvious right now with the data that this kind of a gathering that we're talking about, it can have an impact, but by far, when they do the pie chart, by far, it's families and social gatherings within families that are spreading the virus by far. So these circumstances where we're wearing masks and social distancing, they're not having nearly the impact that families are with pushing the virus through those means.
I can, it is kind of a scary thing because over a month ago, myself and my family were tested positive, and I had a fever, so it is kind of scary. And I wouldn't want anyone else to go through that feeling of being scared like I was. I mean, I survived, I know it, and I'm okay now. But
Well,
so
you really don't know. I was at the
and
school district meeting a week ago and had somebody right here this close
Yeah,
to me.
exactly.
2 days after we had a 6-hour meeting for the sewer board, 6 hours, by the way, sitting right here, it was on a respirator with COVID. He got my Diet Coke for me too, but luckily.
See,
Wow.
I caught it from my son.
But we're
So-
wearing these.
So you're right about family, because I caught it from my son. So
That's where it's at.
so any other questions?
Kind of hearing a consensus generally to go ahead and hold it. But I wouldn't say it's a strong consensus.
I have no issue holding it. I just want to make sure that the funding source is there for the summer concerts next year, regardless.
Yeah.
So we are good for the summer, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay, yeah, we are good.
So
for
are
the
you going to
summer.
vote on this later or?
I think we're just looking for direction. Really, the direction has already been given. It's just if there's a change, and kind of what I'm hearing from the council is away we go. We'll advertise, and then if it gets canceled on us, we will refund tickets, and we will try to build into the contract, an ability to get out of it if circumstances conspire against us. If they're already in Utah, they have a performance the night before, and they've traveled here, and we'll have to see what they can do. But they've been pretty great to work with in the past, so we'll do everything we can.
Yeah, I should note that they had 10 scheduled and they had 6 concerts canceled. So it's thought.
Richard,
Yeah.
can I make a suggestion with advertising? And maybe this goes without saying, but if we're very specific on the advertising, that the concert will be held contingent on any outbreaks or mandates.
Yeah,
or
we can
things
put
of
that in there.
nature. So it's very clear that.
I was trying to keep advertising a minimum just to keep our costs down. So the Clipper, because they always give us a good deal, and maybe a poster or two. So,
I'm assuming you'll use, social media.
and social media.
I think.
Our
maybe-
Facebook page, Bountiful Music in the Park, has like tripled just this past year. So we're getting a lot of contacts there. So that's a good place to advertise. So.
Yeah, and maybe, and you know, there's your own page, but then there's some of the different Bountiful groups, and maybe that's a good place to make a, you know, hopefully the cost to make just a graphic for social media would be
Yeah.
minimal, where you can put up, you know, the giant asterisk of, you know, if COVID permitting, this will take place. If not, it won't, and we, you know, may not be able to refund your tickets. So we ask the community's patience in that. So I'd put that in as many social media spots to share as possible.
Okay. If it's okay, and if we're going to do this, it's okay if I call Kendallin for some advice on how to.
We'll figure it out. Thanks.
And then
Gary, the other item before we.
and I'll need to talk to Chris because we need those orange cones that you guys had at the Vets Park. We need to use those too. So
Talk to Gary.
Gary?
They're city cones.
Oh, okay.
We'll get it figured out.
Okay. All right.
And please let me know if you need the youth council.
Yeah, we'll need ushers, of course. So.
Okay.
So.
Great.
Gary, second item.
Yeah. So the second item is, thanks, Richard. I think
Thank
we're
you.
good with that one. The second item is grand opening for the ice ribbon and the town square. And I had a phone conversation today with Tiff Miller at the Rec District about his feelings, and they are what they're likely going to do with the ice is they're probably going to make it a reservation system where that was the only way they can limit groups from gathering and outside of 6 feet and limit the number of people on the ice. So they are probably going to, you know, let like 50 people on the ice every hour. So you get a reservation. Once that's full, you skate for an hour. And then at the top of the hour, they treat the ice, you know, they bring out the ice resurfacer, the next group gets on and things like that. And so what he and I were talking about was rather than maybe a grand opening ceremony, that instead we look at the date of the 5th as being the grand opening date. And we schedule rather than a ribbon cutting or something, that we have events throughout the day and activities, you know, free hot chocolate and donuts and things like that for people to come and see, maybe a few prizes hidden around the town square that just invite people to come to it. But rather than trying to find out a way to figure out a way to crowd a lot of people together with any kind of a ceremony. He has a board meeting on Monday. I believe there's a board meeting on Monday.
Yep. Yeah.
So based on the direction that we got tonight, he was going to take that back to the board too and see the rec board's feelings about that. But kind of wanted to get your feelings. It's just challenging to schedule any kind of a big to-do where you're purposely gathering a lot of people. But we think we can advertise the town square and the ice just fine and make it more of a day than a starting at noon event. What are your thoughts, council?
I like it.
Sound okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
thank you.
And our ice worked, so that's good.
Yes.
Ice worked.
Ice works.
for our scheduling purposes, it might be good if we knew if there was one particular time that we're supposed to be there, or if you actually want us to stagger, so we're, you know, Chris Simonson is the ribbon cutter of hot chocolate, and I get to be ribbon cutter of donuts, and the mayor gets to be the ribbon cutter of skate laces, or I don't know, something so that we're spread out too, but.
Well, the thing was, I don't think we were going to do any kind of ribbon cutting at all.
Yeah.
It's just going to be, we're open for business come, and in fact, they're actually going to be open for business for 3 days before that. They need to get the ice going in advance, and they want to use the 3 days before the grand opening to test the ice, let's see how operations go and things like that. So
Gary, when will
They know it
the,
works.
oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, they know it works.
Will the brass plaque with the city council and the mayor's name on it be ready for the opening? Do you know?
I don't know that the lights around the outside are done yet, but.
Okay.
but,
no, I haven't ordered said plaque.
All right.
There is one on the way with, for Stoker School that's going to be put on the fireplace. That probably won't be done by the time we
Oh.
get there. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
So we'll have to kind of rework the details, but if they're okay with it on Monday, then what we're going to do is put our heads together, come up with a way that we can get you involved that want to be involved and kind of go from there. Okay.
Is there any signage? It's okay if there is or if there isn't, but will there be any like permanent signage indicating town square? or-
Lots.
Okay.
Is that what's going on right there now on the corners?
Yeah, there's monument signs going up right now on all the corners that are being formed and poured. And then in addition to that, we have lots of other permanent signage that's going to be going up on the buildings that says Bountiful Town Square. It's not quite NASCAR, but because everybody will know that it's the Bountiful Town Square when they get there. And that should all be in place by the time we open up. So
What about our John Mark Knight Fire and Ice Refinisher?
Yeah.
Has that sign been ordered?
I have a graphic to show you. So I'll email it to you. But yes, it's been designed and we want to get your input on it. And then it'll be easy to manufacture.
Super.
So, yep,
Right.
Lloyd was all over that one.
Could I ask that as you're thinking of activities that spread out throughout that day,
Uh-huh.
that one of those activities is perhaps a time where John Mark gets to see the Fire and Ice Refinisher do a lap so he can see the logo at a time that works for him. I'm guessing it's too much to let him drive it.
Might be.
If he can drive it, can I drive it?
So, yeah, we can do that. That's all I had on
Okay,
that
that's
one.
all. Let's just take a minute break then and then we'll be back.
Thanks.